Target Civilization by Jeffrey Tucker. 2 weeks ago, Southwest Airlines had a massive meltdown, but they weren't the only airline affected. Flight delays ruined vacations and travel plans for millions the world over. It was never clear why. Oh sure, blame the weather, but that has become a strangely opaque excuse. You look outside and the weather seems fine, but then someone snaps at you. Can't you see that the snow is bad in Buffalo? So on it goes, and when the weather excuse runs out, they blame the airlines themselves. And I'm sure there's plenty of blame to go around. One party that always seems to evade responsibility, the FAA itself. The other morning, the FAA itself grounded all planes in the U.S. for 3 hours. Why? It was some computer glitch. We still don't get it, really. It sure felt like a lockdown. Maybe it was deliberate to get us used to a system that doesn't work. Maybe we'll travel less. Maybe we'll just give up. Okay, you can call me paranoid. And maybe I'm wrong in my speculations about this incident, but look at the bigger picture. Whether it is forcing electric cars on us or floating the idea of banning gas stoves. The bottom line is that there are people out there who want to control how we live. The latest thing on the chopping block is the gas stove. The Biden administration Consumer Product Safety Commission has floated the idea of a national ban on them based on some cockamamie study that they cause health and respiratory problems. You say they can never get away with it. Think again. These regulators are unbearably powerful. They have every intention of carrying out their wishes, and they're enjoying every minute of it. They have disdain for Congress and scoff at your protests. They believe they alone are in charge, and you have nothing to say about it. Think of all the stuff they have already wrecked. Look around at your household appliances. Energy use and water restrictions have degraded the washing machine, refrigerator, dishwasher, the shower, the toilet, clothes dryers, steamers, and irons, dishwashers, freezers, and so much more. Even the refrigerators are shrinking in size, all in the interest of institutionalizing austerity. The clothes washers no longer use enough water to get things clean. The result is that our clothing is dull and dirty compared to only a generation ago. You can add all the liquids you want and it still won't work. Sure, you can add bleach, but that only wrecks the fabric. When was the last time you saw sheets that were truly bright white? There's a reason for this. It's all deliberate and caused by overregulation of appliances. Really clean absolutely requires rolling hot water and lots of it, plus phosphates to whisk the soap away. Without that, you get what you have today. Dull and dirty everything. All of this should be a clue about what's going on. There are sadists in charge of the regulatory apparatus. It's not really about saving water and energy. Even if it were, that alone would be objectionable. The whole point of energy and water is to serve the human experience, not to impose privatation on the planet. Then there's the attack on the gas-powered car, which allows us to drive long distances even in cold weather and fully control the machine. The electric vehicle is another matter. It makes us wholly dependent on the grid and limits our mobility. In cold weather, it is worse. You end up having to stop every few hours to beg for a charge and wait another hour if you are lucky enough to find a working machine. After a while, demoralization sets in, and you decide it is not worth it. Sure, there are things you can do to outsmart this imposed impoverishment, such as hack your shower head with a corkscrew to remove the flow stopper. But there is no fixing the toilet, the dishwasher, which now runs for hours just to leave spots, or the refrigerator, which will break in 5 years anyway. In time, they want now to get rid of your ability to cook with fire, thus removing our lives a crucial primal connection to our roots and innate desire to be around it. You ever sat by a bonfire? Everyone stares for hours because it meets an inner need. No one stands around an induction stove. They're downright creepy. The only technology these people approve of is thoroughly censored smartphone. They want everything to work like that. Centralized, anodyne, and feeding you non-stop propaganda. The very notion that the electric stove is better than the gas one would be disputed by any competent chef in the entire world. Instead of cultivating instincts based on what you see in the flames, you must trust some digital display to know the temperature, which is absurd. I can't prove it, but the heat itself seems different. Like the difference between incandescence and fluorescence. One seems real, the other fake. I've cooked on both and absolutely dread electric stoves. There are loads of dishes that require real fire, all of which would be impossible to make otherwise. I was just in a restaurant that put their chefs on display using stoves with flames that lap up to 14 inches over the air and sear the fresh-made pasta as it swished around in the pan. There's simply no way to do this otherwise. Fine, if you want some new tech, great, go for it. But don't pretend that you're really cooking. You're buying into the baloney. Also, I've met very few people have used both gas and electric who would honestly choose electric. But if they do, again, fine. But don't force that choice on anyone else. The regulators say it's bad for our health. The regulators say it is bad for our health. That tells you all you need to know about them. They want us living in a fully sanitized, boring, unworkable environment in which we never have contact with anything real. Above all else, they're somehow out to demonize fossil fuels as if the electricity doesn't use coal to make the trucks that transport it and the delivered trucks don't use gas. They have been degraded, the basic gas can, so long that it no longer works properly. Oh, we should have to mention gas itself, which now includes corn, which is sticky, wrecks engines, and causes the gas itself to degrade over time. Do you see what's happening here? It's all deliberate. All the things we love and that make life grand are being taken away from us. The larger truth here is that this war on civilization has been going on for decades. History is supposed to move forward with even higher living standards. The progress has stopped. This trajectory must end now. Decades of regulations need to be repealed. The whole population needs to rise up and say no to the forced austerity and rule by the elite cadre of techno-primitivists. They have driven down the standard of living by force and are far from done with us yet. Some good news from the GOP-controlled House. They're talking about abolishing the IRS and maybe even the income tax itself. Neither will happen, of course, but such ideas were never in the public sphere in my entire lifetime. There's a mighty revolt afoot in the land today, and it's about time. So I wanted to read that because I wanted to make a video on that same idea, and then I happened upon this article it was January 13th it came out. And he nailed it, so I thought, well, credit where credit's due. Why try to remake the wheel? So if you have any thoughts, I hope you enjoyed it. I will post the link in the description. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.